Day 110 of the war in Gaza, and the IDF is making steady progress in and around the encircled Hamas stronghold of Khan Younis. The offensive is ongoing with intensive efforts underway to control the Hamas stronghold both above and below the ground. More from IlTV's Steve Leibovich.
IDF combined air and ground forces are continuing a wide offensive on West Khan Younis, a densely populated area with Hamas gunmen confronting IDF forces in intense urban warfare. The offensive is ongoing, with intensive efforts underway to control the Hamas stronghold both above and below ground. Many Hamas gunmen were killed in the ongoing battles in the southern Gaza city and in tunnels under the city where Hamas leadership is believed to be hiding in deep underground tunnels.
חיסלנו ביממה האחרונה יותר מ-100 מחבלים במערב ח'אן יונס. אנחנו ממשיכים בלחימה בכל רצועת עזה, בצפון, במרכז ובדרום.
The IDF is proceeding cautiously in some areas due to fears that Israeli hostages are being held in and under Khan Younis and may be endangered. Combat engineers are working to locate and dismantle both attack tunnels and underground infrastructure, dismantling dozens of Hamas facilities in the northern outskirts of the city.
ביממה האחרונה אנחנו מרחיבים את הלחימה בח'אן יונס, צוברים הישגים נוספים, ובמקביל ממשיכים להילחם בצפון הרצועה ומעמיקים את ההישג. אנחנו מחסלים ופוגעים במחבלים רבים, במפקדים רבים. מרצחי חמאס, מולם נמשיך לפעול בנחישות רבה.
The IDF chief also reflected on the heavy cost of the war after 24 soldiers lost their lives in a 24-hour period.
ביום הזה אנחנו חשים את מחירה הגדול והכואב של מלחמה. אך זו שאנחנו נלחמים כעת היא הכרחית וצודקת מאין כמוה. נמשיך להילחם למען זכותנו הברורה לחיות כאן בביטחון.
They deny the kidnapping of our children, the murder of our grandchildren, the rape of our daughters. The new Nazis we face today will stop at nothing to destroy civilization as we know it. The World Jewish Congress was created exactly for these times like this, so every Jew can fall asleep at night knowing they are safe in their own home. We are a voice for the Jewish people everywhere. We are the World Jewish Congress.
And joining us now is the new Minister for Social Equality and Women Advancement Minister, Mai Golan. Mai, thank you so much for making the time for us today. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Now, you were appointed this week by Netanyahu as the Social Equality Minister and really Women Advancement Minister too, both of them. What can you tell us about your plans, your will to do in this role? And really, are you going to continue the issue of women advancement? Because I know how important this was for you.
Yes, it was. And I'm grateful for you that you asked that, because it was very important for me. When I just entered this office for women advancement, which was historically formed in the State of Israel for the first time in 75 years, I was so eager to do for women what hasn't been done for so many years. You have to understand, women are 51% of the entire population in Israel. And it was so important for me that women will be heard all over Israel, not just a sector of women in Israel. It was important for me that women from the south and the north, religious women, secular women, women that felt that they couldn't speak up and really get what they deserve and even dream to achieve what they deserve. So I will continue in this office, not just to help women around Israel, but to help all minorities to make their voice sound, just like I was, a minority when I started out and really had no one to back me up. And I promise myself and the rest of the population that I will help as many young girls as me and young men as me to achieve their dreams and achieve really what they deserve to be in Israel.
Mai, and I think that women in general, Israeli women, are going through really hard times right now. In recent months, you led a campaign against women's and human rights organizations worldwide. Do you still think there's someone to rely on? Because, we've been all super disappointed from what we heard in recent months, from what we saw in recent months. Do you think there's still someone we can say, okay, we can turn to?
Well, unfortunately, and with a lot of pain, no. Absolutely not. And I think that the bubble of human rights organizations and women organizations especially has been burst up completely. Because today we know that women are not all women. Jewish voice of woman is not being heard. And when you're a Jewish woman, you can't expect that those organizations will defend you and make your voice be heard just like other women. And I don't think we will ever trust those organizations ever again. And you see that anti-Semitism is harder and stronger than feminism, and is stronger than even basic rights of women and men around the world, because not only women were sexually abused here, also men. But more than anything, you see that anti-Semitism is rising around the world in places that we have never imagined. In the end of the day, universities that talk about democracy, that talk about human rights, and most of all, we see the UN, for example, that is forming an independent committee to have research about the sexual assaults that happen in Israel. This is unheard of. You will never ask any woman or man that have suffered such brutal sexual assault and rape for proof. I've been interviewing to the BBC and to other places, and they've been asking me for forensic evidence. This is unheard of. I don't know if to laugh or cry about it, but I can tell you that what I'm going to do with this new office is, first of all, make the voice of Jewish women being heard all around the world, but more than everything, I won't let them rest. And when I say that, I mean that I will face them with the hard evidence, with women that their organs were chopped, with women that were brutally raped, and their bodies were completely mutilated, that they were hanged to trees after chopping their organs. This is what the anti-Semitic hypocrite organizations around the world will be faced every day until they will say, what happened here is a massacre to women, and it will be heard.
Definitely. And during the campaign you led, did you receive any responses? Anything they told you, or nothing at all?
I've turned to every, and I've listed them, every possible human rights and women's rights organization around the world, with letters, with emails, with videos. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We saw that even the head of the Red Cross committee, nothing. And we only saw a very weak, lame condemn. And we also see what happened in Hague, but we have to be honest, the majority of the states in Hague are Muslim countries. So to ask them to be objective about what happened here, about the massacre that happened to men and women, is almost absurd. So I take no regard about what they're saying. I have to tell you that I was the minority who wasn't sitting in front of the TV hoping to see what the court of Hague will say, or any international court for that matter. You can't expect Muslim dictatorships to tell us what to do in a real democracy. But the truth will be out there, just like, it's just like the Nazis, after they, denied everything they did. And today we see that there's no way to go around it. This is exactly what will happen with what happened on 7th of October.
And not only that, I think that people that are coming here, influencers or people from all around the world coming to the South and see what happened here, they understand.
Exactly.
They have to see it with their own eyes. I want to turn to something else. There's tremendous pressure on Israel to progress towards establishing a Palestinian state, a two-state solution. What's your view on that?
Listen, for me, it's absurd. We don't give a reward to the new Nazis of 2024 as a state solution. But I want to tell you, everyone who pushes into a Palestinian state is pushing into a terror state, is pushing into a state that will basically abide by the law, the fact that you can rape women, slaughter men and women and children, make horrible things to their bodies, video it, and it will be all good and all okay. And you know what? I want to tell you another thing. The blood of the heroes, that was really the holy heroes, that was spilled here when they were protecting the basic right of the Jewish nation to exist, will not go to waste. And when I look at the Zionistic factory that we built here, whoever wants a Palestinian state wants to destroy the Zionist factory here. And you know what? If you see the polls around Gaza and around Judea and Samaria, over 75% of the residents there still support Hamas and still support the massacre that happened on 7th of October. So who exactly do we want to form a state to? And you know what? I want to tell you a last thing. When I go to interviews around the world, and usually I talk about what happened to women, I take this picture with me, the picture of Shiri Bibas and her two babies, and I talk about her and I talk about other women that suffer there. But in regard to your question, I want to say that whoever wants a Palestinian state wants this, wants women to be kidnapped, wants children to be burned alive, wants men that were chopped, with their organs and with their heads, and this is what they want, and we cannot allow it. We cannot allow it. If anyone wants the Jewish state to remain, unlike the dozens of Muslim states that we have, the dozens of African states, the only Jewish state that we have around the world, you can hardly see us on the map. If we want to maintain it, we have to keep away any absurd idea of a Palestinian state.
Thank you so much. And this picture is definitely one of the most strong pictures, the strongest pictures of this war. Thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck with your new role.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Experience the power of truth with ILTV News. If you're looking for quality content and captivating visuals, join our news community and become an integral part of our team as we embark on a mission to unveil the real Israel, dismantling the web of lies and misinformation that surround reporting on Israel. By subscribing to ILTV News, you will not only have access to the latest updates, but you will also amplify our message, creating a ripple effect that carries the truth far and wide. Subscribe today and help reshape the narrative. Available on the web, Android, and Apple.
Israel and Hamas have reportedly both agreed in principle that an exchange of Israeli hostages for Palestinian prisoners could take place during a month-long ceasefire. The Qatari framework plan is reportedly being held up, the two sides' differences over how to bring an end to the war in Gaza. And IlTV's Steve Leibovich has more.
Intense mediation efforts led by Qatar, Washington, and Egypt in recent weeks may be getting closer to broker a phased deal, starting with the release of civilian hostages and ending with the freeing of soldiers, in return for a break in hostilities, the release of Palestinian prisoners, and more aid to Gaza. Israel also reportedly made an offer for a 2-month ceasefire. That proposal reportedly includes an offer to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and other top Hamas leaders in Gaza to relocate to other countries. Egypt said that Hamas rejected the offer. But Hamas's willingness to discuss a release deal indicates a change in policy, saying earlier it would only release the remaining hostages in exchange for a permanent ceasefire. The Wall Street Journal now reports that Hamas is open to a deal for the release of hostages in stages. Officials in Cairo say Hamas expressed openness to a deal to release all remaining women and children, not including female soldiers, taken into Gaza. The Qatari mediators are optimistic without revealing details.
We are engaging in serious discussions with both sides. We have presented ideas to both sides. We are getting a constant stream of replies from both sides, and that in its own right is a cause for optimism. However, the situation, as I said, on the ground is very much fluid. Every day you get more information coming in that is harmful to the mediation process. You get statements that are harmful to the mediation process.
Qatar was instrumental in negotiating a week-long truce in November that led to the release of more than 100 of the 253 hostages kidnapped during the October 7th atrocities. In return for the release of hostages, Israel agreed to free around 240 Palestinian prisoners and increased humanitarian aid entering Gaza.
And joining us now is our very busy official government spokesman, Eylon Levy. Eylon, we're reporting today on great idea of progress against Hamas in Gaza and also on reports of a potential hostage deal with a month-long pause in fighting. First, could you comment on the reported deal? And second, we're so close to Hamas leaders. Why would we pause the war right now?
Thank you, Amit. There is no deal. At the moment, there are constant discussions that are taking place in an effort to get the hostages out of Gaza. These are, of course, hostages we fear are being tortured and starved and raped and executed in the Hamas terror dungeons as we speak. There is no time for them, and that's why we want to get them out urgently. Now, in order to do that, we are happy to consider a brief pause in the fighting in order to get them out. That was how we got out the last 105 hostages. Let's remember, we've already had a hostage release pause, and in exchange for a few days pause in the fighting, we got hostages out. We wanted that to continue. We wanted to continue getting at least all the women and children out, But on December 1st, Hamas decided to violate the pause, stop releasing the women and children, and start shooting rockets back at Israel. So we need to get all those people back. We cannot abandon them. That is our obligation as a state. But let there be no misunderstanding. There will be no ceasefire that leaves the Hamas terror regime in power and the hostages in Gaza. This war will end with a total Israeli victory.
Yes, now we're 110 days into the war. There are tens of thousands still out of their homes in the south. Is a plan beginning to fall in place for their eventual return, and when would that be?
We can't set a specific timetable on this, but this is one of the reasons that this campaign against Hamas is so urgent and so essential, because the people who were driven out of their homes in the kibbutzim that were ethnically cleansed on October 7th by Hamas must return to their homes and must be able to sleep safely. And in order for them to sleep safely in their beds, in order for children to sleep safely in the beds from which they were snatched on October 7th, the Hamas terror regime can no longer be their neighbor. And that is why we are determined not to deter Hamas, not to degrade it, but to destroy Hamas's governing and military capabilities so that people can sleep safely in their beds in those kibbutzim and they can grow and they can thrive.
That's the main goal, of course. Now, looking at the north, there are 60,000 evacuated civilians and many damaged homes in towns and the villages. We have warned Hezbollah many times. There must be a red line that they have crossed now many times. When and how will the turns be restored? I mean, diplomacy doesn't seem to be working, although Israel is doing sort of a great job with it.
The situation in the north is intolerable. We are at a fork in the roads now. Either Hezbollah backs off or we will push it away. Now, we are giving a window of opportunity for a diplomatic resolution based on UN Security Council Resolution 1701 that would see Hezbollah retreat north of the Litani River and allow people to return to their homes. We have 80,000 people who are displaced and they cannot return to homes that are being shelled at the moment by Hezbollah. But if that window of opportunity closes and Hezbollah does not back away, then we will be forced to push it away by military means at a time of our choosing.
Elon, thank you so much for joining us today and keep on doing your amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Israeli women held hostage in Gaza are being subjected to regular sexual abuse, with their terrorist guards treating them like so-called dolls. These were the words of one of the released hostages. We can't breathe anymore. In a chilling testimony before the Knesset, survivors of the October 7 attacks revealed the harrowing experiences of Israeli women held hostage in the Gaza Strip. Former captive Aviva Siegel, who was released in late November, described witnessing systematic sexual abuse.
ראיתי את זה במו עיניי, ולא רק ראיתי, הרגשתי את הבנות כאילו הן בנות שלי. הפכתי שמה להיות אימא לבנות צעירות. אני רוצה לספר לכם שהמחבלים מביאים בגדים לא הולמים, בגדים של בובות, והפכו את הילדות האלו לבובות שלהם, בובות על חוט, שאפשר לעשות איתם מה שרוצים, מתי שרוצים. וזה לא יאומן שהם עדיין שם. אני לא יכולה לתאר לעצמי מה הן מרגישות. אני לא יכולה כבר לחיות עם זה. אני לא יכולה לנשום, אני לא יכולה להתמודד עם זה. וזה קשה. זה קשה מדי. אנחנו עוד מעט סוגרים 4 חודשים. והם עדיין שם.
Aviva's daughter Shir emphasized the urgency of the situation, declaring, "Where are the really important people, the decision makers who sit in the cabinet and aren't hearing this?" The survivors accused Hamas of weaponizing sexual assault, with Aviva's daughter insisting that those in captivity have not done anything wrong. The distressing accounts presented in the Knesset shed light on the profound psychological and physical toll on the victims. Aviva Siegel expressed her ongoing trauma, stating, "I'm still here. My body is there. The hostages, including men, are subjected to abuse every single day for 110 days. And now, as our heroes in the IDF continue the fight to protect us from Hamas, many soldiers return home wounded and in need of medical treatment. And there's no place better to be cared for than at Sheba Tel Aviv. Sheba goes above and beyond for their patients, including hosting a lunch with Michelin chef Asaf Granit for the wounded soldiers to lift morale and show support. And IlTV's Ariel Alachiani had the pleasure of attending. Take a look.
Hi, I'm here now in Sheba Medical Center, and I'm here with the American Friends of Sheba Medical Center, who've brought around 50 volunteers from across the States and Canada to come to Israel to volunteer. I'm currently in what used to be a geriatric building that has been predominantly converted to a rehab center for wounded soldiers. So we're here today now where a lunch has been hosted for these soldiers by Asaf Granit, one of the top chefs in Israel. We're here talking to soldiers, hearing about their experiences, just to lift their morale, show them support and show our gratitude for all they've done. So let's take a look.
We're here with friends of Sheba Medical Center. We're from Toronto, Canada, trying to do what we can.
You have Americans coming and supporting and hearing our stories and saying that we support you from far and we love you guys and we appreciate your work. We appreciate you sacrificing your lives for us. It's absolutely amazing. It makes the whole experience and all the rehab and all getting back to life, it makes the experience way different.
Everyone here is injured soldiers, and the people that are coming know that, and they come with a lot of energy, donations, projects, art classes, games, food. I mean, it's incredible what's going on here. The real spirit of Israel, of the Jewish people, of the Hebrew tribe worldwide, you can see that here at Sheba.
And of course, the event was made possible in part due to top Israeli chef Asaf Granit.
We're cooking lunch for the soldiers and civilians that are hospitalized here, and it's a donation made by the friends of the Sheba Hospital. So my team and my catering, we partnered up to cook this lunch and trying to bring a bit of fun and something tasty to nourish the soul and the body.
Every few minutes someone is coming to my room and makes me smile, so I'm thankful every day.
It's been so inspiring to be here. To see what Sheba is doing in healthcare has been absolutely incredible. One of the leading hospitals in the world, and the research and the innovation, it's such a testament to, I think, the Israeli people as well, and like really coming out and being innovative, changing the game and advancing everything.
This event at Sheba Tel Aviv highlights just one small part of the hospital's tremendous efforts during the war and serves as an inspiration for others to contribute as well.
Every small contribution is part of the effort, and every small thing, whether it's a visit, a smile, whether it's money or whatever you can, makes a difference. So people maybe sit at home and they say, yeah, maybe everybody is doing, it's not needed. Everything is needed. Everything is counted and everything is felt. So I can say it on both sides, on the part that tries to give and also on the part that receives as a soldier. You can feel every small contribution, so it's very important.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. Rainy showers are expected around most of the country tonight, with lows of around 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Then tomorrow we will see more rainy showers alongside seeing highs of about 17 degrees Celsius or 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's all for today's news. For more updates from Israel on all your devices, check out our IlTV channel, subscribe to our IlTV newsletter, and of course, do not forget to check out our new and improved website, IlTV.tv, with all of the latest news from the heart of the State of Israel. I'm Amit Harari. Happy Tu B'Shvat, and thank you so much for watching.